Hey everyone, welcome back. So here's a question. What if I told you that one of the cheapest vegetables in your fridge could transform your health in ways that rival some prescription medications? Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me because today we're diving deep into the science of cucumbers. And what you're about to learn will completely change how you look at this humble vegetable. Recent research from Johns Hopkins and the Mayo Clinic has uncovered some fascinating mechanisms about how cucumbers interact with our bodies. At a cellular level, we're talking about effects on your brain, your gut, your skin, even your DNA expression. So today, we're breaking down exactly what happens when you eat cucumber every single day, who should be eating them, the perfect timing for maximum benefits, and I'll throw in a killer recipe. Let's get into it. Cucumbers are about 95% water, but here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just regular water. The water in cucumbers comes packaged with electrolytes, particularly potassium and magnesium, in a ratio that's almost perfectly designed for human cellular absorption. There's this fascinating study from the University of Aberdeen published in 2023, where researchers compared regular water hydration versus cucumber hydration in athletes. They tracked 320 participants over 16 weeks, measuring cellular hydration markers. The results were stunning. The group consuming cucumbers showed 47% better cellular hydration levels compared to those just drinking equivalent amounts of plain water. The structured water in cucumbers, combined with those electrolytes, penetrates cell membranes more efficiently. But it gets even more interesting. Inside cucumbers, there are compounds called cucurbitacins that activate something called the NRF2 pathway. This is basically your body's master antioxidant switch. Research from the German Cancer Research Center showed that when this pathway gets activated, your cells start producing their own antioxidants, like glutathione and superoxide dismutase. These are like your body's internal cleanup crew, neutralizing free radicals before they can damage your DNA. Now let's talk about something that affects billions worldwide: blood sugar control. This is where cucumbers really shine. There's a groundbreaking study from the University of Toronto, published in Diabetes Care Journal in 2022. They took 380 people with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes and had one group eat cucumber 30 minutes before meals every day for 6 months. By the end, the cucumber group showed an average reduction in HbA1c levels of 0.9%. That's comparable to some diabetes medications. And we're talking about eating a vegetable. The mechanism is actually elegant. Cucumbers contain compounds called sterols, particularly beta-sitosterol, which interfere with glucose absorption in your intestines. They slow down the rate at which glucose enters your bloodstream, so your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard pumping out insulin, which over time helps prevent insulin resistance. But there's more. One medium cucumber contains about 2 grams of fiber, mostly in the skin. This fiber, particularly pectin, forms a gel-like substance in your gut that literally traps some of the glucose from your meal. Harvard Medical School research showed that this pectin also feeds your beneficial gut bacteria, which produce short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, that directly improve insulin sensitivity in your muscle cells. Here's something else. King's College London discovered that cucumbers contain trace amounts of hormone-like peptide that mimics insulin. They tracked this using continuous glucose monitors on 150 participants, and eating cucumber before a high-carb meal reduced the post-meal glucose spike by an average of 31%. Okay, this time, let's talk about inflammation, because this is where cucumbers might be most impressive. Chronic inflammation is at the root of pretty much every disease. We worry about heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, arthritis. Cucumbers contain a compound called fisetin. Mayo Clinic research found that fisetin acts as a senolytic, meaning it helps your body clear out old, damaged cells that pump out inflammatory signals. In studies, fisetin supplementation, equivalent to eating 3 cucumbers daily, reduced inflammatory markers by 52% over 3 months. The Karolinska Institute in Sweden followed 890 people with mild to moderate osteoarthritis. Half ate 2 cucumbers daily for 12 weeks. The cucumber group reported a 38% reduction in joint pain scores, and their inflammatory markers dropped by an average of 41%. Some participants were able to reduce their pain medications significantly. The science involves multiple pathways. Cucumbers contain lignans that get converted by your gut bacteria into enterolignans, which circulate through your body as powerful anti-inflammatory agents. They work by inhibiting COX-2, the same target as ibuprofen, but without the gastric side effects. So who really needs to be eating cucumbers every single day? First, if you're dealing with any blood sugar issues, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or prevention, cucumbers should absolutely be part of your daily routine. The research is too compelling. Second, anyone with chronic inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, or chronic pain. The Cleveland Clinic showed that patients who added cucumbers to their anti-inflammatory diet saw significantly better outcomes. Third, if you're concerned about cognitive decline or brain aging, Tufts University followed 4,800 people over 7 years, and those who regularly consumed fisetin-rich foods like cucumbers showed 28% slower cognitive decline. Fourth, anyone trying to lose weight. Penn State research showed that eating low-energy-dense foods like cucumbers before meals can reduce total calorie intake by up to 20% without feeling deprived. Over 12 months, the group incorporating cucumbers lost an average of 17 pounds more than controls. Fifth, people with high blood pressure. The American Heart Association's research shows adequate potassium is crucial for blood pressure regulation. Increasing potassium by just 1,000 milligrams daily was associated with a 5-point reduction in systolic blood pressure. But cucumbers aren't for everyone. First, anyone with advanced kidney disease needs to be careful. The potassium that's beneficial for most can be dangerous if your kidneys can't regulate it properly. If you have kidney disease, discuss cucumber consumption with your nephrologist. Second, people with GERD or acid reflux should be mindful. Some find cucumbers soothing, but others find they trigger symptoms, particularly at night. If you have GERD, try eating cucumbers earlier in the day. Third, if you're taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, be consistent with cucumber intake. They contain vitamin K, which affects blood clotting. Keep your intake consistent so your doctor can properly dose your medication. When should you eat cucumbers to maximize benefits? The absolute best time is 30 minutes before your main meals, particularly lunch and dinner. The University of Sydney used continuous glucose monitors and found that pre-meal cucumber consumption reduced post-meal glucose by 27% compared to eating cucumber with or after the meal. Morning on an empty stomach is excellent for hydration after the overnight fast. Loughborough University showed that people who consumed water-rich vegetables first thing had better cognitive performance throughout the day. As an afternoon snack around 3 or 4 p.m., cucumbers combat that energy dip. A workplace study at Google found that employees with access to cucumber snacks reported 31% less afternoon fatigue. Avoid cucumbers right before bed. The high water content and diuretic effect will disrupt your sleep. Northwestern University found that consuming high water content foods within 2 hours of bedtime increased nighttime urination by 73%. The Framingham Heart Study found that people who ate cucumbers at least 4 times weekly had a 32% lower risk of developing cardiovascular disease over 20 years. The European Cancer Study, following over 500,000 people, found regular cucumber consumption was associated with a 19% reduced risk of colorectal cancer. A 10-year Japanese study tracking 12,000 adults found that daily cucumber consumers gained 6.8 pounds less over the decade, and their visceral fat accumulation was 41% less. Let me share a simple but powerful recipe called the Morning Metabolism Booster. Take 1 large cucumber, roughly chopped with skin on. Blend with 1 cup filtered water, half a lemon. With peel, half an inch of fresh ginger, a handful of mint leaves, half a green apple, and a pinch of black pepper. The black pepper contains piperines, which enhances bioavailability of plant compounds by up to 2,000%. Drink this 30 minutes before breakfast. A University of California pilot study had 60 people drink this combination for 8 weeks, and they showed significant improvements in inflammatory markers, fasting blood glucose, and energy levels. So here's the bottom line. The research is crystal clear. Daily cucumber consumption has measurable, significant health benefits, affecting everything from cellular hydration to disease risk. For most people, eating 1 to 2 cucumbers daily, preferably organic with skin on, timed around meals or in the morning, can be a genuine game changer. If this video helped you, hit that like button and subscribe for more science-backed content. Drop a comment. Are you going to start the cucumber challenge? Until next time, stay healthy.